Welcome back, dear fans of retro computing, to episode 4 of our series about giving an Amiga 1200 a new life. I hope you followed us up to this point. Today we want to address two issues. One is if you use a PiStorm, you have no HD activity indicator. The HD LED does not light up when there is activity. We want to address this problem. And the other big topic we want to talk about is power supply units. We used so many new parts in our Amiga, but we still had the old PSU, and we want to question if you can use an old Commodore PSU or a Meanwell PSU, and we will investigate this. So let's get started and fix some bits. Now let's talk about power supply units. This Commodore brick is my very own PSU that came with my Amiga 1200, and 2 years ago when I got my Vampire V4, I had some stability issues in the beginning, and I suspected the PSU at one point and wanted to be sure it's not the PSU that caused the stability issues. Spoiler alert, it wasn't the PSU. But anyway, I looked at this PSU and it was some Commodore PSU that is not so capable as others. There were others on the market, like this bigger one. This one has 4.5 amps, and this only had 3 amps, which is enough for most setups, but I wanted something else because I thought perhaps this has something to do with stability issues. I looked at the market and there wasn't so much possibilities you could buy. There were some third-party PSUs for the Amiga on the market, and I think everyone or nearly everyone had Meanwell technology inside. So what I did was I bought not a complete power supply unit, but only the PCB from Meanwell. I bought the PT65B because it had plenty of power, and Gunnar von Böhm told me that he heard good things about Meanwell, and so it was a no-brainer. 2 years ago there wasn't the PowerShark available. It wasn't invented yet, and the individual PSU wasn't available too. So it was a no-brainer. I went for Meanwell and I built it into this small shell, in this small case. This is possible if you take a grinder and cut some edges off, then it does fit. Better is the big case, but well, it does fit. And well, I connected it to my Amiga and measured the voltages. I'm sure every one of you has a multimeter at home. So I measured the voltages under load, and well, it was under 5 volts on the 5 volt rail, and the 12 volt rail was over 12 volt already. And there is a screw on the PCB of the Meanwell. You can adjust the voltage, but there is only one screw for both rails, so you can adjust the screw so that you have exactly 5 volts. I had to turn it up a bit, and then the 12 volt rail was much too high. It had 12.9 volts. The Amiga does work with 12.9 volts, but I don't think it's a suitable solution for long term, because I think you will fry your Amiga in the long run. So I would really not recommend it. And I wondered why this is, because everyone uses it, and then I took a look at this is the Meanwell specification. So this Meanwell spec says on the 12 volt rail it is specified for 0.2 amps to 3.2 amps. So if you draw only 0 amps or something like that, this is not specified, it's outside the specification. You have to get some load on the 12 volt rail, otherwise this PSU cannot regulate the voltage so that it's inside the specification. That's why I had 12.9 volt. I did a quite stupid solution. I took a 60 ohm resistor for high loads and soldered it inside the PSU, connecting 12 volt with ground, and then I had the necessary load, but that's a really stupid solution because you heat a big resistor, and I would not recommend this. Then there are other things about the specification I don't really like. The 12 volt rail is specified with a voltage tolerance of 7%. I think that's very much, because most people say 5% is the maximum tolerance. But on top of that, there goes 2% line regulation, and on top of that there goes 4% load regulation. So that's way outside the 5% in the end. And it goes on. It says overvoltage protection. It switches off between 5.75 volts and 6.75 volts. I don't want my Amiga get 6.75 volts at all. So these are not very good specs, I think. So I know you folks all have Meanwell PSUs at home, and I don't want to start a flame war. You can use Meanwell PSU, but all I want to say, this is not the optimal solution for me. At least not if you have invested some money into your Amiga and you love your Amiga very much. I would say perhaps you look for another solution. What I did, I bought a PSU from Jens at Individual Computer. I don't want to make an advertisement for this product here, but I think this has some better specifications, and but you have to decide on your own. Another frequently question is, can you use the Commodore bricks as they are? And I would say yes, you can. You just have to check if these PSUs still are working fine. You have your multimeter, you can check the voltage with the Amiga connected and powered on, so there's some load. Please check the 5 and 12 volts if they are still 5 and 12 volts. If not, you can open it up and check the capacitors and perhaps replace them, and then you're good to go, even with this old PSUs. So I think that's it about PSUs. Yeah. Now let's talk about the HD LED signal. You have to do some basic soldering. There is a pin or a soldering pad called PP13. This is also true for a Pi 3, and the CM4 board has it here. I will zoom in. If you got a normal Pi 4B, there is no such pin PP13. You have to solder it onto the SMD LED, which is not an easy task, but this should be more easy. This is PP13, you can read there, and I already have a little cable here. It is a socket for a pin, and this cable, I put some solder on this end. And well, the PP13 has a hole. I can stick this in, and yeah, well, let's heat it up. I have not such a great soldering skills. Yes, but this looks good enough. Now you've got the activity signal, and yeah, you just cannot simply connect it to the LED, because the LED also gets a signal from the motherboard, from the internal IDE controller. But if you Google Amiga 1200 HDD LED adapter, this one is from amigaworld.de, but there are also other shops. There is a little adapter that you plug onto the LED header onto the motherboard, and you can choose to connect it to the HD LED, which is this pin, or you can also connect it to the floppy disk drive signal, because I don't use the floppy drive very much, so I choose this one, because then I know if the PiStorm has some activity or the internal IDE controller. That's it. We will assemble the computer together and have a test run next. So we put everything back together and connected our new PSU. And well, now we just switch it on and let's see if we get an HD activity signal. And we can see here the floppy disk LED is on, and the other HD LED is also flashing because I've got a CF card on the internal IDE too. Yeah, and I wanted to use the floppy disk LED for that. As I said, you can choose. And well, it works. So we are happy, and this concludes the 4th episode. I will see you again. Until then, bye bye, have a good time.